Hi, this session is all about loosening off tight glutes. If you've had a problem with your glutes or they're feeling particularly tight after, for instance, some weighted lunges or a long time in the saddle of a seat of a bike, then these stretches might be really nice for you. Also, if you've had a bit of an issue with your lower back or your hamstring, top of your hamstrings, and it's been related back to your glutes, again, you'll find these useful. So the first one we're going to start off with is seated down. We're going to take our legs out in front of us. I'm going to bring my right foot towards my chest, planting my right foot on the floor, and then I'm going to take that foot over the top of my left leg. You can choose what you do with this left leg as long as you are conscious about what you're doing and it's controlled. So for me, I'm either going to point or I'm going to flex my foot or flex my toes back towards my shin. And that just means I'm active in this left leg as well as stretching out the right glute. So from here, I'm just going to give this right knee a nice big hug. If that's hard on the knee, just avoid the knee area and just grab underneath that thigh and just draw it to your chest. You should find a nice stretch here. We're going to move on to a sort of deeper variation shortly, but just to ease it up. And you can see I'm rocking sort of back and forth just slightly, adding a little bit of tension, keeping your breathing for 3, for 2, for 1. Good. Taking this leg out now. So place it on top of the thigh. If that's not comfortable, then just bend that left leg just a little bit. Take your hands back and coming into a variation of figure 4. Try not to put your right ankle on top of your knee. Just below your knee is a really good place. And from here, you're just going to drive your right knee to the floor and then lift it up. Really working on that hip area and that glute. If you can organize it. You're just going to take your hand down towards that right thigh and you're going to push that thigh towards the floor for 3, for 2, for 1. Good. Slowly releasing that leg, switching over, left leg over the top of the right leg, starting off in this position, giving yourself a nice big hug. Choosing your variation, so you might just want to hug the thigh if your knee's a bit sore. Feeling a nice pull all the way down from the glute, all the way up past the adductor, so the outside of the thigh. For 3, for 2, for 1. Opening up this position, so taking your knee nice and wide, dropping your left knee to the mat. You're going to feel it in the inside of your hip as well. If you want to, you can bend that front foot or that front knee, pop your hands behind you, and drive that left knee towards the floor. You can see what I'm doing now. If you can, you might just take that left hand off and just push that knee slightly down for 3, for 2. Just watch the knee here for 1. Releasing out of that position, taking your feet out in front of you and coming onto your backs. So if you want to be nice and active here, you've got your hands out in front of you, slowly rolling down vertebrae by vertebrae, squeezing that pelvic floor as you go. It's going to give a little bit of a massage to your bottom, keeping that chin tucked into the chest. For 3, for 2, for 1. Nice and controlled. Good. From here, we're going to come into a figure 4 on our back, which will be a bit easier than the first version. Taking our right leg up towards the ceiling, taking it up and across. From here, you can just work out where you're feeling the stretch. Again, you might want to grab hold of a part of your body. So this time, I'm lifting my left leg off the floor, grabbing underneath my thigh and drawing that thigh towards the chest. And again, I'm just creating nice little micro movements. I'm actually drawing a couple of circles with my lower part of my body on the mat for 3, 2, 1. Slowly releasing out that position, maybe taking both legs up towards the ceiling, and then dropping that right foot, taking the left leg over the top of that right knee. You might need to start here. As long as you're dropping that left knee out towards the side of the room, and then we're slowly drawing that knee in or that thigh into the chest. 3, nice big circles. For 2, for 1. Good. Unlinking here, taking both feet up towards the ceiling, dropping both your knees or your feet down towards the mat. We're going to do the same again. This time we're going to add a little bit of rotation to get a little bit of a deeper movement. So taking that right foot up and then over the top of that left thigh. Taking your hands either side of the body at 90 degrees and then slowly allowing your right leg or your right foot to slide down the left hand side of your body. You'll feel your torso and your trunk rotating. You'll feel a nice big stretch on the right side of your glute. Try and keep those shoulders on the mat. For 3, for 2, for 1. With control, try and bring that position upright. Unlinking that right leg, maybe lengthening out those legs just briefly, and then bringing them back up into position. Taking that left leg over the top of the right thigh now, finding the position that you want to maneuver in, and then slowly with control, dropping that left sole of the foot down towards the mat. You might find one side a bit tighter than the other. You might not get your foot down to the mat, that's absolutely fine. Just feel a nice pull down the outside of that glute. For 3, for 2, for 1, slowly coming up into a nice position, unlinking that left leg, and then either rocking back and forth into a seated position or finding a nice seated position of your choice. So I'm going to bring my knees to my chest, tuck my chin into my chest, and then roll back and forth until I'm sat upright, even just sitting upright if you've got sore glutes. We'll be working them. All right, so we're going to maneuver ourselves into what we call pigeon position, which I'm sure you've done before. So getting onto all fours. And then bringing your right knee towards your right wrist and then just flicking out your right foot towards the left-hand side of the room. Allowing your left foot and your left leg to slide backwards onto the mat. You can see I've got a bit of an extension in my spine. That's fine if that's comfortable. Otherwise, go make your way down to your elbows. If this isn't working for you, just get some blocks or some books and just pop your elbows on there and just move from right to left. Keep breathing. Play around with this position. It's always good. I mean, at the end of the day, as long as you're feeling a nice pull and you're in control of your body and your movements, it doesn't really matter too much about the positioning. But what I like to say is I like to have my hips square towards the mat. I like to have my leg not rolling in or outward, so I like to have my knee directly on the floor and the top of my foot directly on the floor with my left leg. And that just means my alignment is there and my spine is in a nice safe place. But you know, it depends on how you're feeling. It depends whether you've got a sore knee. Just go with what your body's telling you at this stage, but just be mindful of what you are doing and be body aware. So I can still feel a nice pull on my right glute, moving around slightly. For 3, for 2, for 1. Good. Placing my hands underneath my shoulders, tucking my back right toes, or left toes, sorry, and just switching over. So I'm going to come into my all fours, slide my left knee to my left wrist, flick my left ankle out towards my right wrist, slide my right foot back. Coming down onto my elbows if that's comfortable again, just adjusting myself. You might want to find a block or a book, or if you've got a foam roller, tucking it in under here if that's going to be more comfortable for you. If you're feeling it really on your knees, you need to do something about that. So we don't want to be pushing your knees out of place just to have a glute stretch. So just be mindful of that. And if it is hurting your knees a lot, just go back onto the back, onto the all fours position and the figure 4 position, which was the last positionings we did. So again, just taking a bit of time to breathe in this position. You can be quite passive as well if you choose to not wiggle. I just find you achieve better range of motion by giving yourself a bit of wiggle, by having a little bit of tension through that area. It's more interesting as well. For 3, for 2, for 1. Placing your hands underneath your shoulders again, maneuvering out that position, maybe sliding into all fours, and then just coming into this position. So we're going to do a couple of heel raises, or what you might call a donkey kick. So the main thing about this position is that we're activating our glute and our hamstring rather than using our lower back. So the important thing here is with alignments. We're actively pushing away from the mat with our hands, rounding our shoulders slightly to create that nice strong position, so tucking in the tailbone a little bit, so rotating the pelvis down. You can see here, so instead of this, I'm kind of like this, so nice long spine. I'm engaging my pelvic floor. From here, I'm going to draw my knees in slightly closer together, and I'm going to flatten my left foot and then just slowly move it up towards the ceiling. As soon as I feel my lower spine start to curve excessively, I'm going to stop. I'm just going to engage my glute here for 3, for 2, for 1. Slowly bring that left knee down. If you'd like to, either dropping it to the mat or bring that left knee to your left elbow. And then going for it once more. Let's get it moving. For 3, remember the lower spine. For 2, really squeeze that glute. 1, slowly lower that knee down, either dropping it to the neutral position or bringing that knee up towards your left elbow. Switching sides. So again, finding that neutral position, pushing away from the mat if you relax in the upper torso area. Flattening that right foot, so drawing the toes towards the shins. Balancing here, so you might need to change where you're weight bearing. Pushing that heel up towards the ceiling. You might be tighter on one side than the other. Watch that lower spine. For 3, for 2, for 1. Taking that right knee down, either stopping on the mat or bringing it up towards your elbow, and then transitioning back through again. Keeping that core nice and tight. Keeping that rib cage tucked in. We don't want to be flailing. We want to be nice and strong. 3, 2, for 1. Slowly lowering the knee down towards the mat. Again, finally, if you want to sweep through, touching the knee with the elbow, go for it. Otherwise, just meet me in a nice all fours position. So just finishing up after a little bit of activation, we're going to take our knees nice and wide, draw our bottoms back towards our heels. If you find this really tough, so if your plantar flexion, your pointing of your toes is really hard, just tuck those toes, that's fine. Draw that bottom back, lengthen out that back, and just move around. So whichever position you're in, move around from side to side. For 3, for 2, for 1. Walking those hands up, so you're sat upright. Thank you so much. I hope that's relieved the glutes a little bit. What we did is we did a couple of stretches which you'll be able to adopt at any time, but then we did a quick bit of activation, so starting to strengthen that area once again. I hope you enjoyed the session, and I will see you in the next session. See you later. Bye.